Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today, we're going to be going over a unique item, which is a mythic unique. It is the Shroud of False Death. Now, this one was disabled for quite some time until the 2.0.3 patch. Apparently, there was something to do with the passives not working properly on the item. And we're going to be covering this item in detail, so follow with me. So, first off, the Shroud of False Death is an item that can be crafted. So let's talk about that first before we get into the nitty gritty of anything else. If you go over to the rune crafting section in the jeweler, there is a section called Mythic Uniques, and at the moment you can't craft it. If you are interested in learning what materials, if you right click, it shows you the materials. So what you need is 2 Resplendent Sparks, you need 6 Bach runes, you need 6 Cry runes, and 6 Monai runes. And that's how you can craft yourself a Shroud of False Death. When you craft it, you can get multiple greater affixes, so, good luck. Hope you get something really good. Resplendent Sparks this season do come from various places. You can get one for completing the season journey, so let's talk about that real quick as well. So if you complete your season journey this season, there is a box at the end that will give you a Resplendent Spark. You also get 1 Resplendent Spark for killing Lilith, although this season it didn't seem like they actually fixed Lilith so much as they just gave everybody the spark as soon as you logged in, because apparently they can't fix it. I don't know why. So we did in fact get 2 sparks, which you could use to craft yourself a Shroud of False Death if you wanted to. Now the first effect on this thing is pretty amazing, and we're going to dive into this in detail. Let me go over to the wardrobe as well, because I would like to show off how these look. These Mythic Uniques do have specific looks to them, and I'm currently turning mine off. So as you can see there, it almost kind of resembles like a Lord of the Rings elven style piece of equipment. Kind of has that kind of vibe to it, like Lord of the Rings kind of ish. And I'm pretty sure it changes depending on what character is wearing it. So there's that. Now the passives bonus. +1 to all passives means +1 to all passives. This means that you get a bonus to everything. And unfortunately, depending on what you're using, getting a bonus to everything doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help you very much. Because, of course, like, say, for instance, you're using a basic skill as your main attack. Well, if you're using a basic skill as your main attack, well, things like core skill damage are not going to help you. But it's actually really interesting to consider this from a certain point of view, which is utilizing it to its utmost. And how do you do that? Well, how would you use something that is going to give you bonuses for specific tags? But, if you're using something that only has 1 or 2 tags, then that's not a big bonus, right? Well, the easiest way to do this is the Harmony of Ebiwaka. So I think that the Shroud of False Death and the Harmony of Ebiwaka go hand in hand. And the reason for this is because when you use the Harmony of Ebiwaka, you can mark a skill as multiple things. Now, there are 2 abilities in the game that can take advantage of this from the highest regard on the Spiritborn. Now, of course, you can also use this on other characters as well, but I'm going to talk from the Spiritborn perspective for right now. So, utilizing the Harmony of Ebiwaka and utilizing the skills that have the most number of tags possible, you can get the most bonus out of the Shroud of False Death. The first one is Payback. Payback can be converted into a core skill by utilizing the Poised Payback ability, which means that it is a potency skill and it is also a core skill. If using the Helm of Ebiwaka, you can mark it as multiple things. So, for instance, it's a gorilla skill that can be marked as a centipede, jaguar, or eagle skill as well. And I have to leave town to show you this because the Ebiwaka's second mark does not show up unless you're outside of town, which kind of sucks. So taking a look at the ability now, you see that Payback currently has Potency, Basic, Core, Gorilla, Jaguar, and Eagle. We're currently at 6 tags. There are very few abilities in the game that can utilize this many tags, and to get this, I also have to utilize the Rod of Kepeleke, which converts all core skills into basics. So it's a potency skill which converts into a core, and then a core skill that converts into a basic. The Rod of Kepeleke takes the Gorilla skill and adds on the Eagle and the Jaguar tags because I'm currently using that as well, which means that I'm able to get the most benefit with this particular skill. There is one other skill in the game that can do this, and this is, of course, the Touch of Death. And I can show you this as well. Let me go ahead and pull some points real quick just for to show this one off as well. So Poised Touch of Death also converts Touch of Death into a core skill. And as you'll see right now, Potency, Basic, Core, Centipede, Jaguar, Eagle. Now, what does this mean in terms of how the skills function and what you can get out of them via the Shroud of False Death? Well, if it is a basic skill, then of course we have the ability to get all of the basic skill bonus from follow through. We can also grab the vigorous bonus from the core skill, so we're going to get the degeneration increase. We're also going to grab the multiplier increase from the balanced exertion, but also the negative portion, which increases the vigor cost. And we can also grab velocity, which is going to give us regeneration as we're moving. We're also going to grab the effective unrestrained power. Mirage is also going to affect us, and we can't use Swift because it's not a mobility skill. But we do get Focal Point, we get Apex, we get Diminishment. We can also utilize Perseverance, and Endurance doesn't really help these particular skills, but of course it's nice to have. We can grab all of these as well, at least 1 point in these. You see I have 1 point, so I get some free Barrier, and I also get some free Block Chance Reduction, which is not bad, and some free Thorns. We also grab the free poison resistances and the multipliers. We grab the nourishment, which gives us another multiplier as long as we heal ourselves, which is pretty easy to obtain. So we get another 3% multiplier there. You can also grab the 5% multiplier from the dominant, which is going to apply to payback because it's a gorilla skill. And we also get the 1 extra point in the maximum life for resilient, which also applies because that payback is a gorilla skill. We're also going to be using Brilliance and Acceleration. Both of these are going to be effective because, again, we have changed it into an Eagle skill with the passive Spirit Hall choices, right? It's also a Potency skill, so we get an extra point in Vehemence, which is going to give us some more multiplier because it's a Potency skill. And we're also getting the Potent skill and the Furnace skill because it is a Jaguar skill, because I have set it up as that, right? Although these don't apply because I haven't set it up as a Centipede skill, if I did choose one of the Centipede Hall bonuses, these would also apply, and they also apply to Touch of Death as an example. And then on top of this, we're also getting +1 to all of these passives as well, which means we get an extra 10 Vigor, which is extremely useful for the Rod of Kepeleke. We're getting an additional bonus to the multiplier on Resolution, an additional bonus to the multiplier on Supremacy. We get longer Unstoppable for using our ultimate, and we're also getting free Sustenance, which is healing from ultimate skills, as well as Intricacy for free, which is the ability to spam one of our Potency, Defensive, or our Focus skills. And which actually works surprisingly well, by the way, and is a whole thing that you can build into. So as you can see here, the Payback skill and the Touch of Death skill have the ability to benefit from all of the multipliers, all of the passive bonuses, essentially, for the most part. The majority of those passive bonuses can definitely be taken advantage of by the Shroud of False Death with Payback and Touch of Death in that regard. Now, what else does Shroud of False Death give besides +1 to all passives, which is probably the main reason you're going to come to this item? But icing on the cake is always nice. So we have 208 to all stats, which is pretty amazing. It also got a bump to its maximum life, which I believe was up to 1200, if I remember correctly. But as you can see here, I have a greater affix and upgraded to 1640. I also have the damage on next attack after entering stealth. So this armor actually has a stealth function, but you could potentially use it with another stealth piece of equipment, which is, I mean, there are other stealth options. Like, for instance, you can use the rune that has stealth on it. There is the concealment rune, which is in here somewhere. The rogues, no, that's Rogue Star Shout. There you go. Rogues countering concealment for 5 seconds, gaining dodge chance, move speed, unstoppable, stealth, etc. So this one would give you stealth as well. Obviously, if you are a rogue, you can get it from that. And speaking on other classes, there are many other classes that can take advantage of the +1 passives as well. Like, for instance, Barbarian can get very good use out of it. Druid can get very good use out of it. I'm pretty sure Rogue can get very good use out of it as well.
Mr. Goody Two-Shoes, Mr. Goody Two-Shoes. Ginger Evil Mentor here. Why bother farming when you can go to MMOEXP.com and simply purchase your items in gold? GGM would have you farm the items. What a pathetic being. Use code GEM Ginger Evil Mentor for 6% off your entire purchase. And don't tell Ginger Gaming Mentor that I was here.
All right. So, on top of that, we also have the damage that you get, right? So it not only is it putting you in stealth, but it's giving you an additional damage when you come out of stealth and hit the target, right? So the whole mechanic of this armor, and it's kind of like a jumping around here a little bit because I'm talking about the damage on next attack after earning stealth, but every character that has stealth, like for instance the druid has a stealth option, the rogue has a stealth option, and every character can go into stealth using that new rune. You can all get that damage bonus upon entering the next attack after you exit stealth. And as you can see right now, I'm currently stealthed because that's the way the armor works, and we'll get there eventually. So we also have a resource generation bonus of 14.4%, which is really nice. Mine is currently Masterwork, so it's a little bit lower than that on the base version. And I could probably show you a base version of it real quick. Let's pull up the base version of this. So tools, unique. Oh, we got Mythic Uniques. That's right. I forgot we got a Mythic Unique section now. So the Shroud of False Death did get increased. The maximum life did increase. But other than that, as you can see here, we got 11.1% resource generation, 333 damage on next stealth, 160 all stats. And it's pretty good, but obviously you're going to masterwork it if you're going to use it, right? I mean, why wouldn't you? We also have the special effect, which is if you haven't dealt damage in the last 2 seconds, you gain stealth and 40% movement speed bonus, which is really nice with the Brilliance passive on the Spiritborn, by the way. As you can see right now, I'm currently at 200% of my base movement speed while in stealth. And if I go over here and I attack something and I lose my stealth, if I go over here and attack something and lose my stealth, my movement speed goes down. But I am an eagle, so I've got like ridiculous amounts of movement speed anyway. It's kind of imperative to have movement speed if you're going to do the Brilliance passive, which gives you the multiplier based on your movement speed. So having that is definitely very nice. You can increase your movement speed even further, of course. This is when I'm not in stealth, and there you go, now I'm in stealth. Some of the graphical effects of your character, like the fiery armor that I'm currently using, does like phase through it. If I take the transmog, I believe it's the transmog. I can't remember which transmog it is. I could have sworn it was a transmog. I think it is part of this particular set of armor that I'm wearing, so, but it does show through the stealth effects, and also it does untrigger your stealth if your mercenary attacks as well, as you can clearly see. So if your mercenary attacks the training dummy, it can break your stealth as well. The stealth function is actually really neat, of course, because being in stealth means that the monsters can't see you. And honestly, one of my biggest complaints with this game is that I can't do anything. Like I can't, play with my Chinchilla, with Miss Gojo here in the background. I can't, take a sip of water. I can't do anything pretty much because as soon as I do anything, like I'm immediately just going to get murdered by whatever is nearby, right? Well, having a stealth function is actually kind of neat because it does put you out of harm's way, when your hands off the keyboard, sort of, as long as you're out of, stealth and you're, out of combat, essentially, and you're not attacking things, you're going to be in stealth within 2 seconds. So as long as you haven't dealt damage in the last 2 seconds, you're going to gain the stealth bonus, and you gain movement speed. The movement speed is really nice as well. Because it just allows you to run around really fast whenever you're not doing anything. I mean, the armor is absolutely amazing and is 100% a competition with Tyrael's. Not only does this give you extremely large amounts of defensive or offensive bonuses, but it also gives you defensive bonuses too. You have to remember that like, for instance, when I talked about the passives earlier, we have lots of offensive bonuses, like, for instance, the balanced exertion or the follow through. But there's also lots of defensive bonuses, too. Like, for instance, the focal point can be a defensive bonus, giving you block damage reduction. Perseverance gives you additional damage reduction per stack of resolve. You're also getting things like additional barrier through auspicious. You're getting bonuses to evade chance through mirage, and so forth and so on. And the thing that is making this even stronger than Tyrael's, in my opinion, is that it is giving you both offensive and defensive options, depending on your class. Barbarian, for instance, I can imagine would have some pretty amazing defensive options, which is, utilizing the things that give you increased damage reduction while you have your berserk stacks. You can also get a whole bunch of additional bonuses, like, in fact, I wish I had a barbarian so I could show you some of the passives. You know what we could probably do is we could probably go to Diablo 4.life in the build planner real quick, and let's just pull up some of the classes. So let's pull up the barbarian as an example. And I'm going to pull up the skill tree. Now, on the Barbarian, we have a lot of defensive bonuses as well as offensive bonuses, right? So, like on the Barbarian, you've got aggressive resistance, which gives you damage reduction while you're berserking. We also have things like defensive stance, which increases the damage reduction gained while you are fortified by an additional percentage, right? And then we also have things like Invigorating Fury, which gives you heals for every point that you generate, or every 100 Fury that you spend. So that's going to give you even more heals. The general gist of this is that by getting +1 to all passives, you're not just getting an offensive bonus, you're also getting a pretty ridiculous defensive bonus as well, depending on each character. And utilizing all of those passives is also a strategy that is going to come into play. So you're going to find a way to try and utilize all of those passives to your advantage. In the case of the Spiritborn, I'm utilizing Payback, which is giving me a huge bonus to all of my abilities that way. However, in other situations, like the Rogue, the Druid, the Barbarian, and so forth and so on, you're going to try and find the best way to take advantage of all those things on those characters as well. I think that pretty much covers everything for this item. We've talked about where to get it. We've talked about how you can grab the actual item itself, like crafting it. You can get this from Duriel and Andariel. You can also find it from Beast in the Ice. You can find it from the... And I can kind of highlight these for you. So first off, you can get it from Grigore, which is right here. This is Grigore, the Hall of the Penitent, which is just south of Ked Bardu. You can also get it from Lord Zir in the Darkened Way, which is just north of Yelesna. You can also grab this from the Varshan, which is right next to the Whisperer Tree. And on top of this, you can also get it from... Where's the last one? A Beast in the Ice, which is right here. Glacial Fissure, which is just south of Kyovashad. The Andariel and Duriel, this is Andariel, and this is Duriel down here. They have a double chance to drop mythics. So if you're trying to get mythics, they actually have a better chance to get them than others, which is very nice. The farming them, however, is not the only way you can get them. You can also craft them, as I talked about earlier, and you need specific runes to do that. Runes tend to drop a lot throughout the game from bosses, but you can also transmute up and things like that. Like, for instance, I have 6 back runes right here. So I could probably craft myself one if I wanted to, but I already have one, unless I want to go for maybe a different Greater Affix or something of that nature. All in all, I think that the Shroud of False Death is an absolutely amazing Mythic Unique, and I think it's going to be an extremely popular one within the community because of the passive bonus and how many different options you have to be able to use that to your advantage. And as always, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button if you enjoy the content, and keep watching.